Okay, I'm playing a little bit of catch up with some of these album reviews, and this was an album that came out earlier this year that I've dipped into every once in a while, but it's also an album you need to brace yourself with and know what you're getting into, because otherwise it can be a little bit of a bumpy ride. Let's dive into it. Zon by The World Is Quiet Here. So The World Is Quiet Here is a relatively new and kind of up-and-coming band out of Wisconsin. They are a technical death metal, but even saying that, it doesn't quite do these guys credit. They're very varied within their progressive metal aspects. They're kind of all over the place, if I'm being honest. And this is their sophomore record, their second album, and they've had a changeover of the guards. There's been a little bit of change in personnel. Tyler Colts, who used to be the vocalist and singer, has left the band to be replaced by Lou Kelly. And Lou brings a very interesting approach this band. Now, I haven't heard their first album of Prelude, so this is really the only aspect that I have to the band. I just know that there's a changing of the singer. But man, Lou's vocals. Yeah, let's talk about them. If you are not primed, if you're not, I don't want to say warned, but if you don't know what you're getting into, Lou's vocals can be very abrasive. They can be very off-putting. And that is coming from somebody who is very used to extreme, harsh, growl, screamed vocals. But what this boy brings to the table, he brings an operaticness that I haven't quite heard to this extent. And upon the first 2 or 3 listens, it really sticks out. And when I say operaticness, I mean like almost full-on opera sounds. It's almost comical when you listen to it and you're not ready for it. It does stick out, but he has a much deeper voice. You know, he's not reaching those high tenors that we hear a lot. It's much deeper, you know, almost baritone and almost bass-like. Once you are used to it, once you really understand and get what they're putting down, the rest of the band really does shine. You know, the rest of the band, we've got the 2 guitarists of Isaac Stoltz Gray and Ethan Fulherfer. Oh boy. Bassist Tyler Dwork, and drums by David Lamb, just to kind of round out the rest of this album. And everybody really is playing on point. Like if you're looking for some really good, really intense death metal, prog metal, you're really going to be satisfied with this. This one goes quite a lot, like it goes kind of all over the place. Obviously, what I gotta say is this album is a little bit on the longer side. You know, you've got 9 tracks across over an hour's worth of music. So in some ways, that's really quite nice. But on other ways, it is a bit of a time commitment. And sometimes it doesn't quite pay off as much as I was really hoping for. What I do like is that there's a little bit of a playing of different themes that get laid down. And I love how they're really able to kind of stretch their legs and play a longer stretch of sounds. Right in the center of this album, we have Vessels 1 and Vessels 2. There we go. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that first one. Mothers of No Kin and In the Unity of the Lake. These like 1-2 punch tracks, track 4 and 5, create about 23 minutes worth of music, and it is just full on intense progressive metal. Some of the best that I've heard this year. Love the ebbs and flows that the guys are putting down. Those guitars that are found on here are some of the best that I've heard. Those arpeggios going up and down. It's almost as though you're riding the waves on there. The blast beats on the drum works. You can set your clock to it. They're so precise in that sense. Love it. And it's so tight. It's so tight knit. And we're getting some really interesting and really fun and really kooky aspects within that as well, especially in in the unity of the lake. I'm getting flavors of Devin Townsend. I'm getting flavors of early Haken in that sense. Like, they're not afraid to be fun. They're not afraid to really play around with some really kooky and strange time signatures and aspects on there. The soundscapes and the ideas that they're throwing down, even though they don't have a credited like synthesizer or programmer on this album, I really do love what they're doing behind the kit in that sense. But yeah, if you're looking for some really intense, really like face-meltingly brilliant tech death metal, you're really going to get a kick out of these guys. I've been coming back slowly to these once I've kind of figured out what the lead singer was kind of putting down. It was kind of like when I first came to the death metal growls. The first handful of listens, I couldn't look past them. But now that I've incorporated them into the fold of the music going on, it's a perfect way of really like doing something new with an otherwise slightly treading water landscape of the technical death metal. So I love the fact that they're trying something new and trying something different. And ultimately, I think it works for the better. I've been really enjoying this one. And each time I come back to this album, it rewards me more and more again and again and again. I mean, part of the reason why I love this album, A, it's a concept album, so I love following the story. But B, and most importantly, I love the fact that they pepper throughout this different motifs, different ideas, different soundscapes that they'll then reintroduce, rejuvenize, and play around with again later on. And I love when a band does that. And these guys do that very, very well. So in the end, I will say Zon by The World Is Quiet Here is one that I absolutely will pick up in physical format. If the only real drawback to this album is that it's a little bit on the long side and that it took me a little bit of time to kind of digest that little bit of a jagged pill of the vocals, we have a winner on our hands. So I highly recommend checking it out. Get past those vocals, and I think you're going to have a fantastic, fantastic time if you're into this more extreme iteration of progressive metal. But other than that, I think that's all I've got. So what do you guys think about this album? It's been out for a while, so I'd really love to hear what you have to say about it. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever you thought, please let me know by commenting down below. And yeah, I think that's all I've got. So thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.